I am going to talk a little bit about the value engineering we've been doing and then share the updated floor plan. So that's exciting. As Mark mentioned, we do continue to manage supply chain and labor availability shortages. We've talked about the numerous projects that are going on in the area that certainly contribute to the market conditions. In addition to those components, we have to make sure we're always considering the probable risk with these long construction projects as they move along. Ultimately, all of these pieces do create some cost implications, some challenging cost implications that have required the Board of Education and the design team to engage in some difficult decisions related to value engineering. Value engineering is a term that we use a lot in the construction process, but in simplified terms, I just define it as finding cost saving measures for the project. Sometimes that means swapping out materials. Sometimes it's changing a layout or reducing square footage, which, unfortunately, reducing square footage is one of the biggest cost savings opportunities. Other times it's updating structural or mechanical specifications. And then sometimes it even means reductions in the scope. So we have had many sessions, lots of hours, lots of deliberation, and really working hard to make sure that our money is going as far as it possibly can for us, but also making sure we're making smart fiscal decisions. So before I get to the updated floor plan, I just wanted to highlight some of the value engineering reductions that we have had to include. You'll notice a removal of the auditorium in auditorium balcony. So that was a nice feature that we did originally have in the plan, but has had to come out. I will say that we are, I did just get word today, this is like hot off the presses information, that we are still going to be right around 1,000 seats. We're able to manage that in even our single floor auditorium. So we're really excited about that, an increase of more than 200 seats in our auditorium. So that's very nice, even though we are losing the auditorium balcony. We also value engineered out the North Commons Learning Stair. So that was a nice feature that we were looking forward to having, but one of those tough decisions. We've had to do some relocation of some of the third floor classrooms, and so I'll point those out when we're going through the floor plan. We've also had to make the decision to do some shelling, and what that means, Mark certainly jump in, is we're going to have the ceiling and the walls essentially, but we won't be finishing out some of the spaces in the building. However, they're shelled out so that we can develop them and finish them in the future as our enrollment programming needs show that it's warranted. We have had some square footage reduction in the commons areas, just kind of tightening things up and squeezing things in a little bit. And then one other piece is the elimination of visitor locker rooms in the visitor amenity building, but we do have places for the visitors to be utilizing locker room spaces within our building. So those are some of the bigger ticket items that were value engineered that are more noticeable. Lots behind the scenes that most people wouldn't miss. Even though we've had to make some of those tough decisions that, as Mark said, even in the elementary project, they continue. We're not done value engineering. So we'll continue looking for those cost savings opportunities. However, we are really excited about the beautiful building and learning spaces that our GJPS students, staff, and community are going to have access to. So this slide just highlights some of our components that are included in the plan: enhanced performing art spaces, expanded athletic facilities, including a field house, increased number of classrooms. We're at 130 right now. At our highest point, we were at 137. So we through the value engineering, we did reduce some, but you'll see those are shelled out spaces, so we still have the opportunity to include those. Collaborative extended learning areas are included. We do have our career technical education classrooms on main campus, so that's nice. The 3 distributive dining locations with dining spaces that can accommodate all of our Gahanna-Lincoln High School students, as well as some enhanced security features. So I was going to say, today we're going to be looking at like the flat, paper version of the floor plan, but I'm hoping that next month we'll be able to share a fly through of the building. DLR is working on that. It's a pretty intensive process, and I've seen bits and pieces of it, but it'll be nice just to kind of see, you know, to be able to walk through the building again. Okay, so I am going to switch gears and go into the actual floor plan here. And I do want to give the disclaimer that this is a really large file, so sometimes it takes a little while to move and catch up with things. Just to orient everyone as we're looking at the building, over here to the left side or the west side of the building, this is Hamilton Road. And then up here at the north end is Haven Corner. So you'll notice that we kind of have the building in three sections, the top portion being our performing arts wing. The south end is our athletics wing, and then centrally located are our academic prides and our, you know, our core content classrooms and administrative suites. So I'm going to zoom in. Through. This portion right here, if you can see my cursor moving, this is the main entrance to the building into the North Commons. And so this section here is our administrative office suite. This actually has remained unchanged since the last time we would have looked at a floor plan. Just north of the administrative offices is our Hamilton House programming, one of our alternative programs for our students. And then the blue color here would be all of our performing arts classrooms and support spaces. So let's see if we can get a little bit here. I can read the words, but you guys can't. Yeah. So this room here at the northwest is the band room. And then this is the orchestra room. And then you'll notice along all of these spaces, there are sectional rooms, practice spaces, ensemble spaces, you know, multiple practice rooms throughout the music portion of the building. If you go across the hallway here, this is our black box theater. And then just north of that is the choir room. Again, practice rooms throughout. Across the hallway, this would be a larger ensemble space. The music library for and script library. We have a costume shop here. And then along the back side here, this is where you'll see our dressing rooms, makeup area, uniform storage. I did want to point out one change in this particular floor room or floor plan is where this ensemble space is. That used to be our performing arts teacher lab, and that has since been switched across the hall here. So here where I'm circling, it's actually purple on my screen. This is the performing arts teacher lab that has some visibility into the band space, which was a specific request from the band directors. As we move to the right, to the east, this then is the auditorium, and I mentioned earlier, DLR has been working really hard for us to, you know, to make sure we have safety exits and everything we need in the auditorium, but also to maximize that space. So today they said we're still, you know, tucking and twisting and squeezing, but we, you know, we are confident we'll be able to get at that 1,000 marker. So we're excited about that. And then just over here with direct access to the loading dock as well as onto the stage would be our scene shop. So very, you know, ideal location for that. As we move down here, this orange space is our main kitchen prep area with servery for food, you know, for meals. And then as we are moving farther south, shoot this in a little bit. North Commons, this is also going to be one of the main pathways out to the stadium. So, you know, that will be a direct pathway out to the stadium for stadium events. This section here is where we have a nicer, much larger clinic area, as well as security offices for SROs and, you know, our camera area. So that will be a nice added feature for us. Moving into the academic prides, I'll start over here. We do have 3 floors, and the academic prides essentially are stacked. And so what I explained for floor 1 is duplicated on floor 2 and 3, with the exception of some spaces that I'll point out. But you'll notice here in this North Pride, we have the green signals science classrooms. and the lighter blue are our gen ed or regular ed classroom spaces. We previously had a classroom here where my cursor is on the back side. This classroom here has been added. This is one of those third floor classrooms that we brought down and we put into, each pride. So we essentially have an extra classroom here and an extra classroom here in the south pride, and then those, are duplicated as well on floor 2 and 3. This is well, let me go down here, same format, general ed classrooms, science classrooms. This blue color here is our media center. And one of the things that we originally had in our plan was a 2-level media center. And so right now, what you'll see when we go to the second floor is that the second floor media center has been shelled out space. So that, is space that we'll have to develop at a later time as needed. But this is nice because this is then the grand stair that goes up to the second floor. And just under that is where our robotics pool will be. So this is an enhanced location for us. Currently, it's down in the dingy basement of the high school. So a great opportunity for kids to see that programming in action. So we're really excited about that. A variety of small group spaces and special ed intervention spaces, throughout the building. Right around the circular part here is, our courtyard. And if we're moving, from the media center, we've got some gen ed classrooms. The purple here signifies some of our special education programming. And so on the first floor, we have our ESS programming. And then this green color starts to get into our Fab Lab and our career technical education programs. Just to point out, 2 more teacher labs here and 1 down here. This is store. Oh yeah, the school store is right here. This space right here, right next to the DECA classroom. Yep. And then moving across the hallway, we've got architecture, we've got computer lab space for the Fab Lab, the shop area, the turquoise color. They all kind of start to look the same. These are our art classrooms. So we have sculpture and ceramics that will be on the first floor. And then moving south on all 3 floors, you'll see this is our counseling admin suite. And so it's actually pretty exciting because this year at the high school, Jessica has implemented care teams. And so they have an administrator and a counselor teamed up to support alpha groups of students, and they're loving it. And so it's just fantastic kind of foreshadowing for the collaboration they'll be able to do in these spaces. As we move farther down, this is our TV broadcast studio with podcast rooms and control rooms and such. This is our second distributive dining area. Still working with Megan Schweller and the kitchen staff to kind of determine, what's going to be offered where. And but we do currently, this is labeled a fitness bar. We'll see how that shakes out. But a cool feature for us for sure. And then moving farther down into the athletics wing, we have our competition gym, which we'll see 2,000 at this point. And then we have our various locker rooms, and we have PE locker rooms, our locker rooms for various athletic teams. This is our new CTE athletic training program. So a very nice feature that they'll be able to be right by the training room, which is great for their application. And then this would be our field house area with another locker room right down here, and some men's and women's PE lockers here.
How about the integration of the career tech into like real world
appropriate spaces and that? Yeah, absolutely. So went up to the second floor. If you recall, the north end, this was the performing arts wing. So you can see just a couple spaces here. These are the second level control booth and balcony circulation and such for the Black Box Theater and then into the auditorium. As we move south, the prides look just the same. You can see this space here. This is that shelled out media center space that we talked about. We have some classrooms that are around the courtyard here. Additional special education programming, which this is slated for our FSS program, academic success, smart lab, the quiet dining space for kids that prefer to have like a quieter location to eat, another teacher lab, as well as the teacher lab down here. And then on the second floor, this is where more of our art spaces are. So our community art, printmaking, we have screen printing lab for them, swag. The art team was very helpful and descriptive in kind of the spaces and how they needed to work together. So I applaud VLR for working a million puzzles to make this work out. This space here that I'll point out, this is actually blue. It's a shared space. It'll serve for our music tech and our computer art classes. So it's kind of a shared space. And then this is the last of the art classrooms with black and white film photo. Another admin counseling suite. And then farther down here on the second floor, we have our health classrooms, computer science and business classrooms. This is the third distributed dining kiosk. Right now, we're talking probably sub shop or something of those sorts there on the second floor, and then one additional classroom. And then down in the athletic wing, we have our wrestling gym. We have our coaches suite here, and then the weight room here. And then over here on this side, we have meeting room space and a smaller coaches suite as well. And then finally, the third floor, nothing there at that north end. You see the prides looking the same, North Pride, South Pride. And then this is that shelled out space that we talked about. Some classrooms had been moved down and worked into, like I showed, the back side of those prides. And then we have this shelled out space for future growth as enrollment shows it's needed. Our teacher labs are here and here. So just a little bit of a shift on that teacher lab. And then here we have some special education programming for structured support and our BSS classrooms, as well as down here our FCS, Family Consumer Science classrooms. And one additional shelf space here.
Where are the other CTE classrooms?
So let me show you. We have right here, sorry about that. This is the bioscience classroom.
Oh, okay.
Linked right next to these science rooms on the third floor. And then this is the teaching professions. And then architecture was down on the first floor right by
So
that.
they're integrated.
Yep.
Into the rest of the building. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Will you also point out the stairwells to go out in those circles? Because I had somebody who was trying to look at it.
On the sides, like
And
right here.
It's like, oh my gosh, there's only doors at either end, right? But
Yeah.
they're really not. There's the
So we have
exit only ones,
we
right?
got some stairs here. We have some stairs to go down here, and then of course this is the third floor, but it takes you down to the first floor.
Right.
And then this is a stairwell here. Right here.
On a delayed basis.
Stairwell here. And then stairwell here. Oh, sorry, I have to be patient. My computer is moving fast with the screen. So up here around this north side, this is a stairwell here. And then of course we have the grand stair here. And then if I were to go back to the second floor, we have this stairwell here down into the North Commons from the second floor as well.
It was kind of pointed at the parking lot, but it did.
Still moving. This one right here. This is the grand stair. Okay. So definitely will be exciting when we're able to show the fly through and kind of get into the spaces. They're also certainly working on interior design elements. We've started having some conversations about getting back together with user groups as we start to talk through furniture needs and some of those interior spaces a little more in depth. But we're really excited about